Hey everyone, welcome back to Boring History for Sleep. Before we dive into tonight's topic, I've got a question for you. Have you ever played Assassin's Creed, where you leap across rooftops in a cool white hood, stab corrupt Templars with a hidden wrist blade, and dive into conveniently placed hay bales from like 50 feet up without breaking every bone in your body? Or maybe you've watched John Wick and thought, yeah, professional killers are basically unstoppable badasses in expensive suits who always complete the contract, always escape, and somehow live to fight another day. Tonight, we're talking about medieval assassins, the real ones, the historical ones, the ones who actually existed in the Middle Ages and the medieval Islamic world. And I've got some bad news for you. There were no magical hay bales that cushioned 50-foot falls. There was no secret brotherhood with unlimited funding. There was no retirement plan, no pension, and no happy ending. Most medieval assassins died horribly before they turned 30. And the ones who lived longer, they wished they hadn't. If you're new here, welcome. This is Boring History for Sleep. We take the coolest, most exciting parts of history that Hollywood completely ruined with beautiful lies. And we tell you what actually happened. Slowly, calmly, with enough historical detail to either educate you or put you to sleep. Either way, we're happy. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want more content like this. And drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. Are you in Los Angeles at midnight, London at 8 in the morning, Tokyo at lunchtime? I genuinely love knowing there are people all over the world falling asleep to stories about medieval murder. Now, get comfortable. Settle into your bed or your couch or wherever you're watching this. Dim those lights. Maybe turn on a fan or some white noise in the background. And let's talk about why being a professional assassin in the Middle Ages was actually a complete nightmare. Spoiler alert, it's not cool. It's not fun. And you definitely wouldn't survive it. So let's start with the biggest lie that popular culture has sold us about assassins. The image, the aesthetic, the whole vibe. In Assassin's Creed, assassins wear distinctive white robes with red sashes and hoods. They're instantly recognizable, which seems like a terrible idea for someone whose job is to not be noticed. But whatever. It looks cool in the game. They have hidden spring-loaded retractable blades built into elaborate wrist mechanisms. They parkour across rooftops like Olympic gymnasts. They're noble warriors fighting for freedom against tyranny. In movies like John Wick or Atomic Blonde or any Jason Statham film, assassins are impeccably dressed, highly skilled, and operate with precision. They have access to armories full of weapons. They know 17 different martial arts. They can kill a man with a pencil. Apparently, they're lone wolves with a code of honor. They're dangerous. Yes, but in a sexy, competent, intimidating way. The reality, completely different. Entirely opposite. Let me paint you the actual picture. Real medieval assassins, dressed like everyone else. That was the entire point. Peasant clothes, if you were infiltrating as a peasant. Merchant clothes, if you were pretending to be a merchant. Beggar's rags, if you needed to be invisible on the streets. The goal was to blend in so thoroughly that no one remembered seeing you. Distinctive clothing gets you identified, and identified gets you executed. Hidden weapons, sure. If you count a basic iron knife shoved into your belt and hidden under your tunic. There were no spring-loaded wrist blades. That technology didn't exist. The most sophisticated hidden weapon was maybe a small dagger in your boot. Most assassins just carried a normal knife that literally everyone carried anyway for eating and daily tasks. Parkour across rooftops. First of all, medieval rooftops were thatched or tiled and not designed for foot traffic. You'd fall through and break your legs. Second, Climbing on roofs attracted attention immediately. Guards would assume you're a thief and shoot you with arrows. The real tactic was walking through crowded streets, blending with the crowd, and striking when no one was looking. Success rate. In the games, you succeed every time because it's a game, and failure means game over. In reality, most assassination attempts failed. The target had guards. The timing was wrong. The assassin hesitated. The knife didn't penetrate armor. Something went wrong. Because real life is messy and chaotic and doesn't follow a script. And the noble warrior fighting tyranny part no. Just no. Real assassins were murderers. They killed people for money or because someone powerful ordered them to. There was no honor in it. No righteous cause. Just murder. Premeditated. Calculated murder. And it destroyed them psychologically. Let's talk about the actual historical assassins. The ones the legend is loosely based on. The Hashashin were a real group. They were a branch of Nizari Ismaili Shia Islam that operated in Persia and Syria during the 11th to 13th centuries. Their name possibly came from the word hashish, though historians debate whether they actually used the drug or if that was propaganda from their enemies. What they definitely did was commit political and religious assassinations. They were highly trained, incredibly patient, and willing to die for their cause. Many of their missions were suicide missions. They'd infiltrate a target's inner circle, sometimes spending years gaining trust, and then strike when the moment was right, knowing they'd be killed immediately afterward. This wasn't a cool adventure. This was fanaticism. This was young men being indoctrinated to believe that dying while killing an enemy of their faith would guarantee them paradise. This was psychological manipulation on a massive scale. In medieval Europe, there was no organized assassin brotherhood. There were just hired killers. Murderers for hire. Someone with money and a grudge would find someone desperate enough to kill for coin. No training academy. No secret hideout. No brotherhood. Just a transaction between two criminals. And if you got caught, torture. Public torture. Designed to extract a confession and the names of whoever hired you. Then, public execution. Hanging. Probably. Or beheading, if you were lucky. Your body left on display as a warning. Your name recorded in the execution records as a murderer and nothing more. So why would anyone become an assassin if it was so terrible? Great question. Let's talk about motivation. Because it's never what the movies show you. Nobody became an assassin because it looked cool or fun. Nobody saw a hooded figure leap from a rooftop and thought, yeah, that's the career path for me. People became assassins because they were desperate. Completely, utterly desperate. Let me break down the actual reasons. Money. The most common reason. A successful assassination paid well. Really well. One job could earn you what a peasant made in an entire year. Maybe more. Depending on the target. That sounds great until you realize you'd probably be attempting it. Can't spend gold if you're dead. But when you're starving, when your family is starving, when you see no other way to get that kind of money, you might take the risk. Revenge. Someone powerful killed your family. Maybe a noble murdered your father over some petty dispute. Maybe soldiers burned your village. The legal system won't help you. Nobles are above the law. The only way to get justice is to take it yourself. So you become the thing you hate. You become a killer. You get your revenge. Maybe. But it doesn't undo the trauma. It doesn't bring anyone back. It just adds more blood to the situation. Coercion. This one's dark. Someone powerful has leverage over you. They threaten your family. Kill this person, or we kill your wife and children. You're not choosing to become an assassin. You're being forced. And once you do it once, they own you. You can't go to the authorities because you're now a murderer. You're trapped. One job becomes two, becomes five, becomes your whole life. Religious or political fanaticism. You're told by someone you trust, maybe a religious leader, that killing this specific person is God's will, that you'll be rewarded in the afterlife, that you're a holy warrior, not a murderer. This is how the Hashashin operated. Young men, indoctrinated, convinced that suicide missions were the path to paradise. It's not bravery, it's manipulation, pure desperation. You're broke, you're homeless, you have no skills, no options. Someone offers you money to kill another person. It's this or starve. It's this or watch your kids starve. You know it's wrong. You know it'll probably get you killed. But when the choice is between definitely dying slowly from starvation and maybe dying quickly while trying to earn enough to survive, some people choose the latter. Notice what's not on this list. Adventure, glory, honor, fun. Because being an assassin wasn't any of those things. So, let's say you've made the terrible decision. You're desperate enough, or coerced enough, or fanatical enough to become an assassin. Let's talk about what you're actually signing up for. The reality check that comes too late for most people. First, the skills required. You need patience. Not movie patience, where you wait dramatically for 5 minutes. Real patience. Weeks or months of surveillance. Following your target, learning their routine, waiting for the perfect moment that might never come. You need acting skills. You have to pretend to be someone you're not. Maintain a false identity for extended periods. One slip, one moment where you break character, and you're exposed. You need basic knife fighting skills. Except there's no training program. You're figuring it out yourself. Practicing on sacks of grain if you're smart. Going in blind if you're not. And knife fighting isn't like the movies. It's messy. It's brutal. Someone usually dies, and it's not always the person you intended. Poison knowledge helps. Poison is cleaner than stabbing. But where do you learn about medieval poisons? Who teaches you? How do you get them? It's not like there's a poison shop. You're on your own. Pain tolerance. You will get injured. Cuts, stabs, burns, broken bones. And you can't go to a doctor because doctors ask questions like, how did you get stabbed? And you can't answer honestly. So you suffer. You treat wounds yourself. Many get infected. Many kill you. And emotional detachment. You have to be able to kill another human being. Look them in the eyes and end their life. Most people can't do this. It's not a skill you learn. It's something that breaks inside you. And once it breaks, it doesn't come back. Now, let's talk about life expectancy. In Assassin's Creed, your character survives an entire game's worth of missions. Dozens of assassinations. Hundreds of combat encounters. You're basically immortal because it's a video game. In reality, most assassins died on their first or second mission. The target fought back. The guards were better than expected. The timing was off. Something went wrong and they died. The ones who survived the first few missions and actually became experienced, they rarely lasted more than 5 years. Maybe 10 if they were extremely lucky and extremely good. Age 30 was ancient for an assassin. Most died in their 20s. And natural death, almost unheard of. Assassins died violently. Killed by guards. Executed by authorities. Betrayed by employers. Murdered by competing assassins. Killed by their target's family seeking revenge. Natural death from old age in bed, that didn't happen. Not in this profession. The daily reality was constant stress. You couldn't make real friends because you couldn't tell anyone what you actually did. You couldn't stay in one place long because someone was always looking for you. You slept lightly, if at all. because you might be attacked at any moment. Paranoia wasn't a symptom. It was a survival mechanism. The physical toll accumulated. Injuries that never healed properly, chronic pain, sleeping rough when you couldn't afford or didn't dare rent a room. Malnutrition because you couldn't establish regular meal patterns. Your body aged fast. Very fast. And the psychological toll. That was the worst part. You can't kill people regularly without it destroying your mind. Nightmares. Constant guilt. Inability to feel normal human emotions. You become numb to death. Which sounds useful until you realize you're numb to everything. Joy. Love. Peace. All of it gone. You're a walking corpse who just hasn't stopped moving yet. There was no retirement plan. You didn't save up money and quit. You didn't do a few jobs and move on with your life. Once you were an assassin, you were an assassin until you died. Which was usually soon. So, you're broke. Or your family was murdered. Or someone's blackmailing you. Or you've been indoctrinated by fanatics. Or you're just that stupid. Whatever the reason, you've agreed to become an assassin. The year is 1320. The place is somewhere in Europe. Or maybe the Middle East. It doesn't really matter because everywhere treats assassins the same way. As criminals who deserve torture and execution. You don't get a training montage set to epic music. You don't get welcomed into a secret fortress with master assassins teaching you parkour and philosophy. You don't get a white robe with red trim. What you get is this. A contact meets you in an alley at midnight. They show you a face. Maybe a rough drawing. Maybe they point the person out from a distance. They tell you where this person lives or works. They hand you a knife. Maybe it's sharp. Probably it's not. Kill them. Make it look like an accident if possible. Don't get caught. Payment on completion. And that's it. That's your entire training. Good luck. Your target is a merchant who allegedly wronged your employer in a business deal. You don't know what he did. You don't know if he actually deserves death. You don't ask because questions make you memorable. And memorable gets you killed. You have 1 week, one basic knife, one chance. If you succeed, you get paid. Your reputation starts. More jobs become available. You're officially a professional assassin. Welcome to hell. If you fail, you probably die during the attempt. Target fights back. Guards kill you. Bystanders mob you. Dead in a gutter with no one knowing your name. If you get caught, it's worse than dying. Torture first. They want to know who hired you. You probably tell them eventually. Because everyone breaks under torture. Then, public execution. Slow and painful. Designed to be a spectacle. A warning to others. And if you hesitate, if you can't go through with the murder, you go back to whoever recruited you and explain why you failed. They might kill you for knowing too much. They might blackmail you into trying again. They definitely won't just let you walk away. You know too much. You're a liability. There's no backing out now. You made your choice when you accepted the knife. So let's see what your first week as a professional murderer looks like. Let's walk through the surveillance. The planning. The psychological destruction. And the actual moment when you have to look another human being in the eyes and decide to end their life. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be traumatic. And it's going to make you understand why every single assassin in history eventually met a bad end. Sweet dreams. You've accepted the contract. You've taken the knife. And now you're standing alone in a dark alley at midnight, watching your contact disappear into the shadows. And you're realizing something important. You have absolutely no idea what you're doing. Let me tell you what you know about your target. His name is Giotto di Mercante. He's a wool merchant. Somewhere around 45 years old. He lives in the city. He travels between his warehouse near the docks and his house in the merchant quarter. He allegedly cheated your employer in a business deal involving a shipment of Flemish wool. That's it. That's everything you know. What you don't know. Whether he's actually guilty of anything. Whether this is justified. Whether he has a family. Spoiler alert. He does. A wife and 3 children. But you don't know that yet. And honestly, your employer wouldn't care if you did. You don't know if he's aware someone wants him dead. You don't know what security measures he's taken. You don't know if this is even the right target or if your employer is lying to you. But none of that matters because you've already accepted the job. And backing out now would be more dangerous than going forward. Your resources for this mission are impressive. By which I mean non-existent. You have 1 cheap iron knife. It's not even particularly sharp. The previous owner probably used it to cut bread and cheese. And now you're supposed to use it to kill a man. You have the clothes you're wearing. A rough peasant tunic and hose that make you look like every other poor person in the city. Which is good for blending in. But bad for literally everything else. You have whatever money you possess. Which is almost nothing. Because if you had money, you wouldn't be doing this. And you have your wits. Which, let's be honest, are questionable at this point because you've agreed to become a murderer. Your plan, you don't have one. Not yet. Because no one taught you how to do this. There's no assassin training manual. No helpful mentor showing you the ropes. You're figuring this out as you go. And most people who figure it out as they go end up dead in the first week. The paranoia starts immediately. Before you even begin surveillance. Before you even see your target. You're walking back through the dark streets to whatever hole you're sleeping in. And every shadow looks threatening. Every person you pass could be a guard. Could be an informant. Could be another assassin sent to test you or eliminate you. Is someone watching you right now? Is your employer having you followed to make sure you don't run? Did that beggar on the corner notice the knife tucked in your belt? Did the tavern keeper see you meeting with your contact? Don't know. You can't know. And that uncertainty will eat at you for the rest of your very short life. Welcome to being an assassin. Day 1. You're already terrified and you haven't even started yet. The surveillance phase begins the next morning. You wake up before dawn. If you slept at all. Which you probably didn't, because your mind was racing with possibilities and fears and the creeping realization that you've made a terrible mistake. You position yourself near Giotto's house. Not too close. Because that's suspicious. But close enough to see when he emerges. And you wait. Waiting is most of what assassins do. It's not exciting. It's not dramatic. It's cold and boring and your feet hurt from standing still. Finally, as the sun rises, the door opens. There he is. Giotto di Mercante. Mid-40s. Well-dressed in merchant's clothes. Healthy-looking. Not a monster. Not some evil villain. Just a man. He kisses his wife goodbye. She's pretty. Younger than him. Visibly pregnant with what's probably their 4th child. He ruffles the hair of a small boy. Maybe 6 years old. Who's come to the door to see him off. And something twists in your stomach. This is a person. A human being with a family who loves him. Who has a pregnant wife and kids who depend on him. But you push that thought down. You have to. Because if you think too hard about this, you won't be able to do it. And if you don't do it, your employer will make sure you regret that decision. 2 guards fall into step beside Giotto as he starts walking. They're not heavily armed. Just short swords and clubs. But they're alert. Scanning the street. Watching for threats. They're professionals. You're not. You follow at a distance. Trying to look like you belong. Just another peasant going about his business. Just another face in the morning crowd. No one important. No one threatening. Giotto's routine becomes clear over the next few days. He leaves his house at dawn. The guards escort him to his warehouse by the docks. He stays there most of the day, overseeing his workers, meeting with other merchants, conducting business. In the late afternoon, he returns home. The guards are always with him. Always. You're starting to see the problem here. During the day, you tail him through the streets, and you're trying to be subtle. You really are. But subtle is harder than you think. You're taking the same route he takes. Every day, watching him from across the street or from doorways or from market stalls. And people are starting to notice. A shopkeeper gives you a suspicious look on day 3. You again. You buying something or just loitering. You buy an apple you can't afford and move on. One of Giotto's guards makes eye contact with you on day 4. Just for a moment. His eyes narrow slightly. He's noticed you. He doesn't do anything about it yet. But he's noticed. That's bad. By day 5, you're exhausted. You've been sleeping under a bridge because you can't afford a room, and you're too paranoid to stay anywhere that requires giving a name. The ground is cold. It's autumn. Getting close to winter. And the nights are freezing. You have one thin blanket. You wake up stiff and sore every morning. You're hungry. Constantly hungry. You're saving your meager coins because you might need them for bribing someone or buying information. So you're eating as little as possible. Stale bread. Watery soup from a street vendor. Your stomach hurts. Your head aches. Your concentration is slipping. And the moral questions are creeping in during the long, cold nights under that bridge. You've been watching Giotto for 5 days now. You've seen him laugh with his workers. You've seen him help an old woman carry her purchases. You've seen him give a coin to a beggar. He seems like a decent person. Maybe he did cheat your employer. Maybe he deserves this. But maybe your employer is lying. Maybe this is about something else. Maybe Giotto is innocent and you're about to murder an innocent man. But you can't ask those questions. You can't investigate. You can't back out. The clock is ticking. Your employer expects results. You have 2 days left. The pressure is building. Like a weight on your chest. Like drowning slowly. You need to act. Soon. Let's talk about your weapon. The knife your contact gave you is terrible. It's cheap iron. Probably salvaged from a broken farm tool. The edge is dull. You've tried sharpening it on stones you found, but you don't really know what you're doing. You cut your own hand in the process. Your first blood in this mission, and it's yours. The knife is still not very sharp. This is what you're going to kill a man with. This piece of barely functional metal. You consider alternatives. But they all have problems. Poison would be cleaner. Mix it in his food or wine. He dies at home. Looks like illness or bad fish. You get away clean. But here's the issue. You don't know how to make poison. You don't know where to buy poison. Medieval poisoners are rare and expensive. And asking around about poison is a great way to get yourself arrested. A bow or crossbow would let you kill from a distance. Safer for you, but you don't own one. Can't afford one. Don't know how to use one. And walking around a city with a crossbow is incredibly conspicuous. Guards would stop you immediately. Strangling with a garrote requires getting very close. Requires overpowering the target. Giotto is bigger than you. Stronger. And he has guards. You'd lose that fight. You could ambush him with a blunt object. A club. A rock. Smash his skull. But that's messy. Hard to make look like an accident. And you still have to get close. Still have to overcome him and his guards. Still have to escape. No. The knife is your only realistic option. Close range. Personal. Brutal. Terrifying. You practice. Sort of. You find a sack of grain in an alley behind a mill. When no one's watching, you stab it. It's harder than you expected. The knife doesn't slide in smoothly like in your imagination. The sack resists. The grain is dense. You have to push hard. Your hand hurts from gripping the knife. The blade gets stuck. You have to wiggle it and pull to get it free. And this is just a sack. A stationary, non-living sack of grain. A human body is going to be so much worse. Muscle, bone, resistance, movement, fighting back. You try not to think about it. You fail. You think about it constantly. The psychological preparation for murder is something no one talks about. The movies skip this part. The protagonist gets the order to kill. And then cut to the killing. We don't see the hours or days of mental anguish in between. But you're living it. You're trying to dehumanize Giotto in your mind. You're telling yourself he's a bad person. He cheated your employer. He deserves this. He's probably done worse things. The world will be better without him. But you don't actually know if any of that's true. You're taking your employer's word. And your employer is someone who hires assassins. So their moral authority is questionable at best. The reality keeps intruding. Giotto is a person, a human being, someone's husband, someone's father. He has thoughts and feelings and fears just like you. He gets up every morning and kisses his wife goodbye. He worries about his business. He loves his children. And you're going to end all of that. Permanently. Violently. When you try to sleep, which you can't really do anymore. You imagine the moment. The knife going in. The resistance of flesh and muscle. The sound it will make. The blood. There will be so much blood. You've seen animal slaughters. You know what happens when you cut into a living body. The screaming. He'll scream. They always scream. In pain. In fear. In confusion. That sound will stay with you forever. His eyes, looking at you in that final moment, seeing his killer, seeing you, that image will be burned into your memory. You'll see those eyes every time you close your own. You're having nightmares before you've even committed the murder. Nightmares where everything goes wrong. Where the guards catch you and drag you to the torture chamber. Where they break your bones one by one while you scream. Where they execute you publicly and your body is left hanging as a warning. Or worse, nightmares where everything goes right. Where you succeed. Where Giotto dies by your hand. Where you see the life leave his eyes. Where his children grow up without a father because of you. Where his pregnant wife gives birth alone and raises 4 children in poverty because you took away their provider. Both outcomes are horrifying. There's no good ending here. For him or for you. But you can't back out. We've covered this. Backing out means your employer kills you or blackmails you or ruins you. You're trapped. The only way out is through. Through the blood and the screaming and the eyes. So you make the plan, such as it is. You've noticed that Giotto walks the same route every day. From his house to the warehouse. There's a narrow alley he passes. It's one of those medieval alleys that's barely wide enough for 2 people to pass. Dark, quiet. The buildings lean in overhead, blocking most of the sunlight even at midday. Usually, only one guard walks close to him there. The other drops back because there isn't room. For just a few seconds, maybe 10 or 15. There's a moment where you could rush out, strike, and run before the second guard reacts. That's your window. That's your chance. 10 to 15 seconds to commit murder and escape. It's a terrible plan. So many things can go wrong. What if the guards change their formation? What if Giotto is wearing armor under his clothes? Wealthy merchants sometimes do that. What if you hesitate? What if you miss? What if you trip? What if someone else is in the alley at that exact moment? You don't have a backup plan. You don't have contingencies. You have one idea and hope. The day arrives. Day 7. Your deadline. You've spent the night not sleeping, shivering under the bridge, running through the plan over and over in your head until you're not even sure what's real anymore. You position yourself in the alley early. Before dawn, you find a recessed doorway where you can wait, where you can watch the entrance to the alley and see when Giotto approaches. You're wearing a dark cloak with a hood. It's meant to hide your identity. It also makes you look incredibly suspicious. Anyone who sees you will know immediately that you're up to something. But it's too late to change now. Your knife is tucked into your belt. You've wrapped the handle with cloth so it won't slip in your sweaty hand. Your hands are already sweating and the sun hasn't even risen yet. What you're feeling? Terror. Pure, overwhelming terror. Your heart is pounding so hard you can hear it. Your stomach is churning. You actually did vomit a little earlier. Bile because there's no food in your stomach. Your hands are shaking. You're cold despite the cloak. You want to run. Every instinct is screaming at you to run. But you don't. You stay. Because you're more afraid of failure than you are of death. Which is insane. But here you are. The sun rises. The city wakes up. Sounds of morning life. Vendors setting up. Donkeys braying. Church bells ringing. Normal people doing normal things while you wait in an alley to commit murder. You wait. An hour passes. 2 hours. Your legs are cramping from standing still. Your back hurts. Your head is pounding. And then you hear them. Footsteps. Voices. Getting closer. You peek around the corner. It's him. Giotto. Walking with his 2 guards toward the alley. Toward you. This is it. This is the moment. Everything comes down to the next 30 seconds. Your hand goes to the knife. You pull it out. The blade catches a shaft of morning sunlight and glints. You step out of the doorway. Into the alley proper. Positioning yourself. They're entering the alley now. Giotto in front. 1 guard beside him. The 2nd guard dropping back like always. 10 feet away. 5 feet. Time slows down. And speeds up. And stops. Giotto sees you. His eyes widen. His mouth opens. About to shout. You lunge. You lunge forward with the knife. Everything happens at once. Too fast and too slow simultaneously. Time does this weird thing where individual moments stretch out into eternity. But the whole sequence is over in seconds. Giotto sees you coming. His eyes lock onto yours. There's a split second where you see recognition, not recognition of who you are, but recognition of what's happening. His eyes go wide. His mouth opens to scream. The guard beside him is turning, reaching for his sword. But he's half a second too slow because he wasn't expecting this. No one expects to get attacked at 8 in the morning on a routine walk to work. Your knife comes forward. You're aiming for his chest. His heart. Because that seems like the logical place to stab someone if you want them to die quickly. Except you've never done this before. And what seems logical in theory is completely different in practice. The knife hits fabric first. His merchant's tunic. Good quality wool. And then under that there's something hard. Resistance. Your knife slides off it. He's wearing leather armor under his clothes. Of course he is. He's a wealthy merchant in a dangerous city. Of course he wears protection. This realization takes maybe 1/10 of a second. Your brain processes it. Adjusts. You redirect. The knife finds a gap where the leather doesn't cover. Under his arm. The armpit. Where there's just fabric and flesh. You push. Hard. Harder than you thought you'd need to. There's resistance. Like cutting into tough meat at dinner. Except this is a living human being. The knife goes in. Not smoothly. Not like sliding into butter like the movies show. It catches on muscle, on tissue. You feel every layer as the blade penetrates. And then the blood. Hot blood. Immediately, so much more blood than you imagined. It wells up around the blade, spills over your hand. Your hand that's gripping the knife that's inside another person's body. Giada screams. It's not a movie scream. Not dramatic. It's primal. Pain and terror and confusion all mixed together. The sound that humans make when they're dying and they know it. The guard is shouting, drawing his sword. The metal scrapes against the scabbard. That sound will haunt you. Giotto is falling, or trying to fall. His legs are giving out, but your knife is stuck in his ribcage. The blade hit bone and wedged. You try to pull it out, it doesn't come. You pull harder, it still doesn't come. Giotto's hand clutches at the wound. At your hand, his fingers grab your wrist. He's looking directly at you, into your eyes. His mouth is moving. He might be trying to say something, might be trying to ask why. You don't know. Can't hear over the sound of your own heart hammering and the guard shouting and the blood rushing in your ears. You yank the knife. Really yank it. It comes free with a horrible sucking sound. More blood follows, pulsing out. Arterial blood. Bright red. You hit something important. Giotto collapses. Hits the ground hard. He's still moving. Still alive. His hand pressed to the wound, trying to stop the bleeding. It's not working. The blood is coming through his fingers, pooling on the cobblestones. The guard is almost on you. Sword raised. You can see his face. He looks terrified too. He's young. Maybe your age. He didn't sign up for this either. But he's going to kill you if you don't move. You run. Pure instinct. Pure panic. No thought. Just movement. Your legs carry you down the alley. Away from the guard. Away from Giotto, who's on the ground, bleeding and dying because of you. Behind you. The guard is chasing. He's shouting. Murderer, assassin, stop him. Other voices join in. People heard the screaming. They're coming out of buildings. Looking into the alley. Seeing Giotto on the ground. Seeing you running with a bloody knife. Seeing exactly what happened. You're running through the streets now. Morning streets. People everywhere. Going about their business. And you're tearing through them like a madman. Knocking people aside. Jumping over a cart. Sliding through a gap between buildings. Your lungs are burning. You can't breathe. Can't get enough air. Your side has a cramp that feels like someone's stabbing you. Which is ironic considering you just stabbed someone. The blood. You're covered in blood. All over your right hand and arm. On your tunic. On your face where you wiped sweat. Everyone can see it. Everyone knows what you are. Murderer, someone screams as you pass. Others take up the cry. Murderer in the streets, stop him. More guards are joining the chase now. You can hear their boots on the cobblestones behind you. Multiple sets. They're coordinating, trying to cut you off. You turn down a side street. Another alley. This one, even narrower. You knock over barrels as you pass, trying to slow them down. It barely helps. Your brain is barely functioning. Pure animal panic. Run. Hide. Survive. Nothing else matters. Not thinking about what you just did. Not thinking about Giotto. Not thinking about anything except not getting caught. Because if they catch you, you know what happens. You've seen public executions. They'll torture you first. They'll want names. Who hired you? They'll break your fingers. Your legs. They'll make it last. And then they'll hang you in the public square and leave your body up for days as a warning. You turn another corner. There's a wall? A courtyard wall. maybe 7 feet high. No time to think. You jump. Your hands catch the top. Your arms scream in protest. You pull yourself up, drop over the other side. Land hard. Your ankle twists. Pain shoots up your leg, but you keep moving. Limping now, but moving. You're in someone's courtyard. Chickens scatter. A dog barks. You limp across. Find a gate. Burst through it into another street. The guards run past. You hear them. They ran right by the courtyard. They lost you. You duck behind a water barrel. Press yourself into the shadows. Try to control your breathing. Try to stop your heart from hammering so loud they'll hear it streets away. You wait. 1 minute. 5 minutes. An hour. You've lost all sense of time. Your whole body is shaking. Adrenaline crashing. The cold setting in. You realize you're in shock. The sounds of pursuit fade. The guards move on. They're searching other areas. You're still alive. For now? Eventually, when the sun is higher and the immediate danger seems past. You emerge from behind the barrel. You're lost. You have no idea what part of the city you're in. Everything looks the same when you're panicking. You find a public fountain. It's one of those medieval fountains fed by an aqueduct. The water is cold. You plunge your hands in. Start scrubbing. The water turns pink, then red. The blood comes off your hands, but not from under your fingernails. You scrub harder. Your nails are torn. Bleeding. The blood is still there. It will always be there. You try to clean your face. Your tunic. The blood is soaked in. Dried in some places. You look like exactly what you are. A murderer. You need to hide. Need to get off the streets. Need to change clothes. Need to think. You find an abandoned building. At least it seems abandoned. The roof is partially collapsed. No one lives here. You slip inside. Find a corner in what used to be a storage room. Collapse. And then your body betrays you. Your stomach heaves. You vomit. There's nothing in your stomach. So it's just bile. Burning your throat. You vomit again. And again. Your body trying to purge what you've done. It doesn't work. You're shaking uncontrollably. Your teeth chattering. Cold despite the morning having warmed up. This is shock. Deep physical shock. And then you cry. You don't want to. You try not to. But you do. Great heaving sobs that hurt your chest. Tears streaming down your face, mixing with the dried blood you couldn't wash off. The images keep replaying. The knife going in. The resistance. The sound. The blood. God. So much blood. Hot on your hand. Sticky. The smell of it. Copper and iron. His eyes. Giotto's eyes looking at you. That moment of recognition. Of understanding. He knew he was dying. He knew you killed him. Those eyes will be with you forever. When you close your eyes, you see them. When you open your eyes, you still see them. His hand grabbing your wrist. The strength in that grip, fighting for his life. The weakness as he fell. The way his body hit the ground. The sounds he made. You're a murderer now. That's what you are. Not an assassin. That's just a fancy word. You're a murderer. You killed a man. You ended a human life. Someone's husband. Someone's father. His pregnant wife will get the news today. His children will cry for their father who's not coming home. And you did that. You. Night falls. You're still in the abandoned building. You haven't moved. Can't move. Your mind is stuck in a loop. Replaying the murder over and over. Different angles. Different moments. All horrible. Eventually, morning comes again. A new day. You're still alive. Giotto isn't. Did he die in the alley? Did he survive long enough to be carried home? Did he say anything before he died? Did he forgive you? Did he curse you? You don't know. You'll never know. And that uncertainty is another torture. You need to know if you completed the mission. Need to know if Giotto died. If he survived, you failed. If you failed, your employer might kill you. But you can't stay in this building forever. You venture out carefully. Find a market, listen to people talking, and you hear it. The gossip. Did you hear about the wool merchant, Giotto? Yes. Terrible. Attacked in broad daylight. Is he dead? Not yet. But the physician says the wound is deep. Infection has set in. He'll be dead within days. You fade back into the crowd. He's alive. For now? But dying. You failed and succeeded simultaneously. Botched the assassination, but he's dying anyway. Does that count? Will your employer accept partial success? You have to report back. Have to get your payment. Have to face what comes next. The meeting happens at night in a different alley. Your contact is there. Same person who gave you the knife? They look at you. Take in your appearance. The blood stains you couldn't get out of your tunic. The haunted look in your eyes. Well, I stabbed him. Under the arm. Hit an artery. I think. He's dying. Infection. They nod slowly. Messy. It was my first time. Obviously. They reach into their cloak, pull out a small pouch, toss it to you. You catch it. It's heavy. Coins. Half payment. Target isn't dead yet. When he dies, you get the rest. I don't know if I can do this again. They laugh. Actually laugh. It's not a kind sound. You think you have a choice, you're an assassin now. Congratulations. That doesn't wash off. I could stop. Could just take this money and disappear. You could try. But we know your face now. And we have friends everywhere. You're more useful to us, alive and working. But if you try to run, you become a liability. And we eliminate liabilities. The threat is clear. You're trapped. You killed for them once. Now you belong to them. There'll be another job in a week. Easier target this time. You'll learn. They all do. And then they're gone. Melted into the shadows. And you're standing alone in an alley with blood money in your hand and blood under your fingernails and the realization that this is your life now. Giotto dies 3 days later. Fever from the infected wound. You hear about it in a tavern. Someone mentions it casually. That merchant finally died. The one who got stabbed. You get the second half of your payment. Full success. You're officially a professional assassin now. The second job comes a week later, like they promised. Different city. Different target. A baker who supposedly witnessed something he shouldn't have. Your employer wants him silenced permanently. This time, you use poison. You've learned where to buy it. Costs most of your payment from the first job. But it's worth it. Poison is cleaner. Less blood. Less personal. You watch the baker for 2 days. Learn his routine. He buys wine from the same vendor every evening. You bribe the vendor. Not much. Few coins. I need you to sell him this bottle instead tonight. Don't ask why. The vendor is smart enough not to ask. Takes the poisoned bottle. Sells it to the baker that evening. 2 days later, you hear the baker died suddenly. Heart failure. People say, he was old. These things happen. No blood on your hands this time. Except there is. Different kind of blood. But blood, nonetheless. The third job is back to a knife. A minor noble who allegedly abused his position. Night ambush on a dark road. You've learned from the first time. You wait until he's alone. You strike from behind. Fast. Efficient. He dies quickly. You're getting better at this. You feel nothing while doing it. That should worry you. The fact that you can kill another human being and feel nothing. But it doesn't worry you. You're too numb to worry. The fourth job is strangling. An informant who betrayed someone important. You follow him into an alley. Use a garrote, a cord around his neck. He struggles. Takes longer than you expected. Much longer. His hands claw at the cord. At your hands? He's strong. Fighting for his life. But you're stronger now. Harder. Colder. You don't let go. You hold on until he stops moving. Until his hands drop. Until the life leaves him. And you still feel nothing. That's the thing that's happening to you. Each kill is easier mechanically. You're learning techniques, learning from mistakes, getting faster, more efficient, more professional. But each kill is harder psychologically. Or it would be if you let yourself feel it. So you shut down that part of yourself. The part that feels guilt, that feels empathy, that feels anything. You're becoming what they need you to be. A weapon, a tool, not a person, just a function. Kill, collect payment, repeat. Your reputation is growing. Word spreads in the underground. There's a new assassin, young but effective, discreet, reliable, doesn't ask questions, gets the job done. More employers seek you out. More contracts. More targets. More deaths. You have money now. Can afford decent lodging. Can eat regularly. Can buy better clothes. Can maintain your weapons. You're successful by criminal standards. But you can't afford peace. Can't buy back your soul. Can't purchase a good night's sleep. Can't pay for the nightmares to stop. You've stopped counting after 15 kills. Maybe you're at 20 now. Maybe more. They blur together. Faces you try to forget. Names you never learned. People who had lives. Had families. Had futures. Past tense. All past tense because of you. The routine becomes mechanical. Get assignment from contact. Study the target. Days or weeks of surveillance. Learn patterns. Find vulnerabilities. Choose method. Knife. Wizen. Garrote. Arranged accident. Execute the plan. Collect payment. Move to next city. Repeat. You're successful. By assassin standards, you're doing remarkably well. You've survived 2 years. Most are dead by now. You're becoming a veteran. One of the ones who might actually last, but something is breaking inside you. Or already broke. You're not sure when it happened. Maybe during the first kill. Maybe gradually over 20 kills. But something fundamental is gone. Some essential piece of your humanity. You don't laugh anymore. Can't remember the last time you smiled. Food tastes like nothing. The world looks gray. You feel disconnected from everything. Walking through life like a ghost. Technically alive but not really living. And you're being hunted. Multiple people want you dead. The city guards have circulated your description. Can't stay in one place long. Always moving. Always hiding. Always alone. This isn't sustainable. You know that. Something will give. Either you'll get caught, or you'll break mentally, or someone will betray you, or you'll just stop being lucky. In the movies, the assassin retires, takes their money, disappears, lives on a beach somewhere. That doesn't happen in reality. In reality, assassins die. All of them. Eventually, it's just a matter of when and how. And you're starting to realize your time is running out. You're lying on a straw mattress in a rented room in a city whose name you can't even remember anymore. They all blend together. Every city, every room, every target, Everything is gray and the same and meaningless. It's 3 in the morning. You haven't slept. You never sleep anymore. Not really. You close your eyes and immediately the faces come. All of them. Every single person you've killed. Standing around your bed. Not moving. Not speaking. Just watching you. Giotto with the blood spreading across his tunic. The baker clutching his stomach where the poison is eating him from inside. The noble with your knife in his back. The informant with the purple bruises on his neck where you strangled him. They don't look angry. That would almost be better. They just look sad. Disappointed. Like they're wondering why you did this to them. Why you took their lives. They had families. They had futures. And you erased all of that for a pouch of coins. You open your eyes. The room is empty. Of course it is. They're not real. They're dead. You killed them. But they feel real. In your mind, they're always there. Always watching. You can't tell the difference anymore between waking and sleeping. Between reality and nightmare. Sometimes you see them in crowds during the day. You'll be walking through a market and you'll see Giotto browsing a stall. Your heart stops. But then you blink and it's just some merchant who looks vaguely similar. But for a moment, you were absolutely certain you saw a dead man walking. This is happening more often. Hallucinations brought on by sleep deprivation, stress, and guilt compounding over months. Your mind is fragmenting, breaking apart, losing its grip on what's real. The paranoia is constant now. Not occasional. Not situational. Constant. Every single person you see is a potential threat. That woman at the well could be an informant. That beggar on the corner could be a spy working for someone you wronged. That guard, casually walking past, could be looking for you specifically. Trust no one. The first rule of being an assassin. But it's not just a rule anymore. It's pathological. You can't trust anyone because everyone is dangerous. Everyone could be the person who ends you. You can't make friends. Obviously, what would you tell them? Hi. I murder people for money. Want to grab a drink. Your entire life is a lie. You can't tell anyone the truth. Can't be honest about anything. Every conversation is a performance. Every relationship is fake. You tried drinking yourself to sleep. Bought a jug of wine. Drank the whole thing. It helped for a few hours. The edges got softer. The faces faded a bit. But then you woke up with a splitting headache and the faces were back worse than before, and now you also felt sick. So you drank more. And more. Trying to find oblivion. Trying to forget. But alcohol doesn't work that way. It doesn't erase memories. It just makes you a drunk murderer instead of a sober one. Sometimes you think about ending it. Just ending it all. You're on a roof one day after a job. Looking down at the street below. It would be so easy. One step. A few seconds of falling. Then nothing. No more faces. No more nightmares. No more fear. But you can't do it. You're too much of a coward. Even for that. So, you step back from the edge and climb down and continue your miserable existence because you're too afraid to die but too dead inside to really live. Your body is falling apart too. Not just your mind. Your physical body is breaking down. You have a stab wound in your left shoulder from a job that went wrong 6 months ago. The target had a knife hidden on him. You didn't check carefully enough. He fought back. Got you good before you got him. The wound never healed properly. You couldn't go to a physician because physicians ask questions. How did you get stabbed? You couldn't answer that honestly. So you treated it yourself. Badly. It got infected. You had fever for a week. Delirious. Hallucinating. You thought you were going to die. Part of you hoped you would. But you didn't. You survived. The infection cleared eventually. But the shoulder never worked right again. Limited range of motion. Constant H. In cold weather, it's agony. Your right hand has 2 broken fingers. From a fight with a target's guard. The guard was bigger than you. Stronger. You won. But barely. Heard the crack when his club hit your hand? The fingers swelled immediately. Purple. Useless. You tried to set them yourself. Splinted them with sticks and cloth. They healed crooked. The bones fused wrong. Those 2 fingers don't close properly anymore. Your grip is weaker. Sometimes you drop things. For an assassin who relies on knife work, that's a serious problem. You have a burn scar across your right forearm. From a failed poison attempt. You were brewing something. It splashed. The liquid was caustic. Ate through your skin. The scar is shiny and tight. Another thing you couldn't get proper treatment for. Cut scars everywhere. Dozens of them. Arms. Hands. One across your ribs where someone almost killed you. Each one a story. Each one a reminder of how close you've come to dying. You're in chronic pain. All the time. The shoulder aches. The hand throbs. Old injuries that never healed right. New injuries layering on top. Your back hurts from sleeping on the ground so many nights. Your knees hurt from running, climbing, fighting, and you can't see a doctor. Can't get help. You just suffer through it. Every day. The pain building. Your body aging rapidly from the stress and the injuries and the impossible lifestyle. You're malnourished despite having money. You can't eat regularly. Always moving. Always hiding. You grab food when you can. Street vendor meals. Stale bread. Whatever's available. Your stomach is a mess. You have digestion problems. You're losing weight. Getting weaker. The sleep deprivation is destroying you. Maybe 3 or 4 hours per night. Never restful. Always interrupted by nightmares or paranoia. Your reaction time is suffering. Your judgment is impaired. You're making mistakes. Small ones so far. But mistakes? And in this profession, mistakes get you killed. You look in a mirror one day. A polished piece of metal in a merchant's stall. You see your reflection and barely recognize it. You're 25 years old. You look 45. Gray hairs appearing at your temples. Deep lines in your face. Eyes sunken. Skin sallow. Weathered. Worn. Broken. This is what assassination does to you. It doesn't just kill your soul. It kills your body too. Slowly. Painfully. But the worst is yet to come. You get a message for a meeting with your usual contact. Normal procedure. New job probably. You go to the designated place. A warehouse district at night. Quiet. Empty. You should have known. Should have felt it. But you're so tired. So worn down. Your instincts aren't as sharp as they used to be. You walk into the warehouse. It's dark. You can barely see. And then you feel it. The cold press of a blade against your throat. Don't move. It's not your contact's voice. Someone else. Someone behind you. Someone who was waiting. Your mind races. Trying to understand. Is this a test? A betrayal? A mistake? Your employer sends their regards. You know too much. You're a liability now. Nothing personal. A betrayal. They hired another assassin to kill you. The irony would be funny if you weren't about to die. The knife starts to press harder. You have maybe a second before your throat is cut. Pure instinct takes over. You drop. Fast. The blade slices the side of your neck. Shallow. Painful. But not fatal. You roll. Kick out. Connect with something. A leg. The assassin stumbles. You scramble to your feet. Draw your own knife. It's dark, but you've fought in the dark before. The other assassin comes at you. You can barely see them. Just a shape. A shadow. You dodge. Barely. Feel their blade pass inches from your face. Strike back. Miss. The cramped warehouse space making every movement difficult. This is a fight between two professionals. Both trained to kill. Both desperate. Both knowing only one walks out. It's brutal. Close quarters. No room for fancy technique. Just survival. You trade cuts. Stabs. Your knife finds their arm. Their knife finds your side. Shallow. Both of you bleeding. Both of you slowing. You crash into crates. Stumble over rope. The other assassin trips. Falls. You're on them immediately. Your knife comes down. Once. Twice. 3 times. You feel the resistance. Feel the blade entering flesh. Don't stop. Can't stop. Kill or be killed. Finally, they stop moving. You're on top of a corpse. Another body you've created. Another face that will haunt you. Except you never even saw their face. Just a shadow you killed in the dark. You're bleeding from the neck wound. From the slash on your side, you need to get out. Need to treat these wounds. Need to survive. You stumble out of the warehouse. Into the night. Every breath hurts. Your side is on fire. The neck wound is trickling blood. Not arterial. You'll survive. Probably. But the message is clear. Your employer tried to kill you. They see you as expendable. All the work you've done for them, all the risks you've taken, doesn't matter. You're a loose end to be tied up. Can't trust employers. Can't trust contacts. Can't trust anyone in this world. Everyone is an enemy or a future enemy. You disappear. Change cities. Change names. Change everything. Start taking jobs from different sources. Never work for the same employer twice. Never get comfortable. Never trust. But now, you have enemies on multiple sides. Your old employer who wants you dead. Every target's family who wants revenge. The city guards who are still looking for you. Other assassins competing for contracts. The list of people who want you dead grows longer every day. And you're just one person. Alone. Exhausted. Injured. How long can you keep this up? Not long. You find out, the next job goes wrong. Badly wrong. The target is a minor noble. You've done your surveillance. Learned his patterns. Planned the ambush. It should be straightforward. But he has more guards than expected. Hidden guards. They were waiting for you. Someone tipped them off. Someone betrayed you again. You try to run, but they're faster. Younger. You're tired and injured and slow. They catch you in an alley. Surround you. Disarm you. Beat you down. You fight. Of course, you fight. But there are 5 of them and 1 of you, and you're already exhausted. You go down. Hard. Hits keep coming. Boots. Fists. You taste blood. Feel ribs crack. Try to curl up to protect vital organs. That's enough. The captain wants him alive. They drag you. You can't walk. Your legs don't work. One eye is swollen shut. Breathing is agony. Broken ribs definitely. Maybe punctured lung. You're coughing blood. They throw you in a cell. Stone walls. No windows. Iron door. This is it. This is where it ends. But not quickly. Oh no. Not quickly. The torture starts the next day. They want information. Who hired you? How many people you've killed? Names. Places. Everything. You don't want to tell them. Not from loyalty. You have no loyalty. But from fear? If you betray your contacts, your employers, they'll send someone to kill your family. If you even have family left, You're not sure. You haven't seen them in 3 years. Don't even know if they're alive. But you can't not tell them either. Because the torture is methodical, professional. They know what they're doing. The rack. They strap you down. Start cranking. Your joints stretch. Pop. The pain is indescribable. Like being torn apart from the inside. You scream. Everyone screams on the rack. There's no shame in it. Your body can only take so much. They ask questions between cranks. You don't answer. They crank more. Your shoulders dislocate. The pain goes beyond pain into something else. Something that breaks your mind. You pass out. They revive you with cold water. Continue. Whipping. Your back is already scarred. They add more. Each lash feels like fire. Like being branded. The leather cuts skin. Draws blood. By 20 lashes. You're begging. By 30. You're sobbing. By 40. You're not even human anymore. Just pain with a voice. They break your fingers. The ones that weren't already broken. Use a small hammer. One at a time. Ask questions between each break. The small bones crack. Shatter. Your hands will never work right again. If you survive this, which you probably won't. Waterboarding. The medieval version. They tie you to a board. Angle your head down. Pour water over your face. You can't breathe. You're drowning, but not dying. They stop just before you drown. Let you gasp. Then do it again. This goes on for days. You lose track of time. Day and night blur. The only constant is pain. And questions. And your resistance crumbling. Eventually, you break. Everyone breaks. It's not weakness. It's biology. The human body and mind can only take so much. You tell them everything. Names. Locations. Methods. Every contract you've taken. Every person you've killed. All of it spills out between sobs and broken breaths. You've betrayed everyone. Every employer. Every contact. Every ally in the criminal underworld. They'll all know. They'll all want you dead. Not that it matters. You're going to be executed anyway. Publicly. Slowly. They've told you as much. They're just keeping you alive long enough to verify your information. But then something happens. The guard who brings your evening slop gets drunk. 2. Celebrate something. You hear him outside the cell singing, stumbling. The key rattles in the lock. He's checking on you, making sure you're still breathing. He opens the door, squints into the darkness. Drunk enough that his judgment is impaired. You shouldn't be able to move. Your body is broken. Ribs cracked. Fingers destroyed. Shoulders dislocated. But desperation does things. Gives you strength you shouldn't have. You lunge. Use your head as a weapon since your hands don't work. Headbutt him in the face. His nose breaks. He falls. You're on him. Using your weight. Your elbow against his throat. Pressing. He struggles. You press harder. It takes forever. But eventually, he stops. You've killed again. Another body. But this one was necessary. This was survival. You take his keys. His cloak. Stumble out of the cell. Through the dungeon. You're naked. Bruised. Bleeding. Broken. But moving. Upstairs. Through corridors. You don't know where you're going. Just away. By sheer impossible luck. You find a door. It's night. The guard shift is changing. Confusion in the courtyard. You slip out wearing the stolen cloak. Looking like a guard from a distance in the darkness. You're out. You're free. You're alive. But barely. You collapse in an alley 6 streets away. Can't go further. Your body gives out completely. You're dying. You can feel it. Blood loss. Internal injuries. Infection setting in. But you don't die. Somehow, someone finds you. A beggar or a prostitute or someone. Takes pity. Drags you to some hovel. Tends your wounds. Badly. But enough to keep you alive. You wake up days later. Fever broken. Still broken in body but alive in some technical sense. You've lost everything. Your contacts know you talked. Your employers know you betrayed them. The authorities know your face. You can't go back to being an assassin. Can't go anywhere. Can't be anyone. You're hunted by everyone now. Criminal underworld wants you dead for betraying them. Authorities want you dead for escaping. Everyone wants you dead. There's no way out. You understand that now, fully. This profession has no exit. Once you're an assassin until death. And death is coming. Soon? You've been doing this for 3 years. Most don't last 1. You've lasted 3 through skill and luck. But luck runs out. It's just math. Just time. Just inevitability. You can keep running. Keep hiding. Keep surviving day to day. But it's not life. It's just delayed death. Every moment waiting for the blade. The arrow. The poison. The rope. This is the price of murder. Not just the moral weight. Not just the nightmares. But the complete destruction of everything. Your body. Your mind. Your future. Your soul. There's a saying in the criminal underworld. No one retires from assassination. They just stop moving. And you're starting to understand what that means. Your options have narrowed to 3. Keep running until someone catches you. Turn yourself in and face execution. Or end it yourself on your own terms. None of them are good. All of them end the same way. With you dead. It's just a question of when and how much more suffering comes before the end. You're 26 years old. You look 50. You feel 100. Every breath hurts. Every movement is pain. You can't sleep. Can't eat properly. Can't trust anyone. Can't go anywhere. Can't be anyone. This is what it means to be an assassin. This is the reality behind the cool hood and the hidden blade and the dramatic leaps. This is the truth that Assassin's Creed doesn't show you. It's not adventure. It's not glory. It's not honor. It's just suffering. Extended. Brutal. Meaningless suffering that ends in death. And that end is coming soon. You can feel it. Like a storm on the horizon. Getting closer. Inevitable. The only question left is whether you face it or run from it. And you're too tired to run anymore. Let's talk about statistics. Cold, hard numbers. Because every medieval assassin who ever lived has one thing in common. They're all dead now. Here's how they died. How they all die eventually. The percentages vary by region and time period. But the patterns are consistent across centuries. 40% die on the job. Killed during the actual assassination attempt. The target fights back. The guards are faster than expected. The knife doesn't go deep enough. Something goes wrong in those critical seconds and the assassin dies in an alley or a bedroom or a street. Their body is left where it falls. Sometimes identified. Usually not. Just another corpse in a violent world. Buried in a mass grave or thrown in a river. No one mourns them. No one remembers their name. 30% get caught and executed. The authorities capture them. Sometimes during an attempt, sometimes days or weeks later through investigation. They're tortured for information. Then they're executed publicly. Hanging is most common. Quick drop if they're lucky. Slow strangulation if they're not. Sometimes beheading for higher profile cases. Sometimes burning for particularly hated criminals. The execution is a spectacle. A warning: the body is displayed, left hanging or mounted on spikes. Eventually, it's taken down and thrown in an unmarked grave. No headstone. No memorial. Nothing. 15% are betrayed, killed by other assassins, by employers who see them as liabilities, by contacts who sell them out, by partners who want their cut of payment. Trust is impossible in this profession. Everyone is a potential enemy. So betrayal is common. A knife in the back, poison in the wine, an ambush in an alley. The irony of assassins being assassinated is apparently lost on no one. These deaths are rarely investigated. Just another criminal killing another criminal. The city guards barely care. 10% commit suicide. The psychological weight becomes too much. The nightmares never stop. The guilt compounds. The fear is exhausting. The isolation is crushing. They can't take it anymore. They jump from bridges. They hang themselves. They drink poison. They open their wrists. It's an exit. Maybe the only exit with any control, but it's still death. Still the end. Still defeat. 5% die of disease or starvation or infected wounds. The ones who survive the immediate dangers of the job eventually succumb to the lifestyle. Living rough. Sleeping outside. Inadequate food. Injuries that never heal. Infections that spread. Fever that won't break. They die alone in alleys or abandoned buildings. No one finds them for days. Sometimes weeks. Just another dead beggar as far as anyone knows. No one investigates. No one cares. The average lifespan of an assassin from first kill to death is 3 years. 3 years of constant fear. Constant pain. Constant running. Most don't make it past year 1. The ones who survive to year 3 are considered veterans. Extremely rare. The ones who make it to year 10, almost mythical. Maybe a dozen in all of medieval history actually lasted that long. You've lasted 3 years. Right at the average. You're on borrowed time. Every day past this point is statistically unlikely. You're beating the odds just by still breathing. But the odds always win eventually. It's just math. Just probability. Just time. And your time is up. The job comes through a new contact. You're not working with your old employers anymore. Obviously, they want you dead. But word spreads in the underground. There's always someone who needs someone killed. Always another contract. This one pays well. Very well. A wealthy merchant in a city 3 days' travel from where you are. Someone with enemies. Someone whose death would profit several parties. The payment offered is triple your usual rate. That should be a red flag. That should scream trap. But you need the money. You're broke. Spent everything on bribing the people who hid you after your escape. Spent everything on barely surviving. So you take the job. Even though you know, deep down you know, this is the one. This is how it ends. The target's name doesn't matter. You don't bother learning it. What's one more name to forget? One more face to add to the collection that haunts you? You travel to the city. You're limping. Your injuries from the torture never healed right. Your shoulders still don't work properly. Your fingers are gnarled and twisted. You look like exactly what you are. A broken man on his last job. You do the surveillance out of habit. Professional instinct, even when you know it doesn't matter. The target is predictable. Wealthy. Guarded but not excessively. He travels the same route daily. Has a schedule. Patterns. It's too easy. Too convenient. All the warning signs are there. But you ignore them. Because part of you wants this. Wants it to be over. Wants the end to come. You plan the ambush for a night attack. Dark road. Less witnesses. More escape routes. Except you're not planning to escape. Not really. You're just going through the motions, playing the part one last time. The night arrives. You position yourself on the road the target will take, returning home from a business dinner. It's dark, cloudy, no moon. Perfect conditions for an ambush. Perfect conditions for a trap. You wait. 1 hour. 2 hours. Your legs ache from standing. Your back is screaming. Your broken fingers throb in the cold. Everything hurts. Everything always hurts now. And then you hear it. The sound of horses. A carriage approaching. This is it. But something's wrong. The sound is too loud. Too many horses. Too many wheels. More than one carriage. The first carriage passes your position. You don't move. Can't move. Because following it are riders. Guards. A dozen of them at least. Armed. Alert. Watching the darkness. They knew. Of course they knew. This was a trap. Set by someone. Your old employer, maybe. Or the target who was tipped off. Or the new contact who was never really your contact at all. Doesn't matter who. The result is the same. The guards spot you. Your dark silhouette against the slightly less dark road. Someone shouts. Points. They're turning. Coming toward you. You should run. That's what the old you would do. The you from 3 years ago who still had hope. Who still wanted to survive. That version would run. But you're not that person anymore. You're tired. So tired. You've been running for 3 years. And you're done. So you don't run. You draw your knife. Stand your ground. Face them. They come at you from multiple sides. Professional soldiers. Well-trained. Well-armed. You're outnumbered. Outarmed. Outmatched. But you've gotten good at killing. That's the one thing you're good at. The only thing you have left. The first guard to reach you swings his sword. You dodge. Barely. Your body doesn't move like it used to. Doesn't respond right. But muscle memory takes over. You step inside his guard. Your knife finds the gap in his armor. Under the arm. Where you stabbed Giotto 3 years ago. Full circle. He falls. You're already moving to the next one. Parry a sword thrust with your knife. It's insane. You shouldn't be able to parry a sword with a knife. But desperation and skill and 3 years of surviving the impossible make it happen. Your knife takes the second guard in the throat. He goes down gurgling. 3 more are on you. You can't stop them all. A sword catches your side. Cuts deep. You feel the hot rush of blood. Your blood this time. You're slowing. Weakening. But still fighting. Because what else is there? This is what you are. This is all you've ever been for 3 years. A killer. 4 guards down. 5. You're covered in blood. Yours and theirs. Your side is on fire. You can feel your strength draining with the blood. A blade catches your leg. You go down. On your knees, looking up at the circle of guards surrounding you. Swords pointed at you. At least 10 of them left. Too many. This is it. This is the end. You always knew it would end like this. Violent. Surrounded by enemies. Dying in the dark. One of the guards steps forward. Older. Seasoned. Probably the captain. His sword is raised. Any last words? Assassin, you laugh. It hurts. Everything hurts. But you laugh anyway. Because what else can you do? What last words could possibly matter? Just Finally, he looks confused. Doesn't understand. But you do. Finally, it's over. Finally, you can stop. Stop running. Stop hiding. Stop killing. Stop being haunted. Just stop. The swords come down. Multiple blades at once. Through your chest, through your back, through your neck. You feel them enter. Feel the cold steel. Feel your life ending. And your last thought isn't about heaven or hell. Isn't about redemption or forgiveness. Isn't about anything profound. Your last thought is relief. Pure relief. The nightmare is finally over. Everything goes dark. The pain stops. The faces stop. The fear stops. Everything just stops. You're dead. Age 26. 3 years as an assassin. 23 confirmed kills. Maybe more you've forgotten. 0 happy days. 0 peace. 0 rest until now. No one will remember your name. You'll be recorded in the execution logs as just another criminal. Just another assassin eliminated. Your body will be thrown in a mass grave. Unmarked. Forgotten. And honestly, that's fine. Better to be forgotten than remembered for what you became. Your story ends here. But let's talk about what happened after. The aftermath. The legacy, which is to say, nothing much. Your body is left in the road that night. By morning, the crows have found it. They always do. Other scavengers follow. Nature reclaiming what you were. What little was left of you. Eventually, someone from the city comes and collects the corpse. They don't know who you are. Don't care. Just another body that needs disposal. You're thrown in a pit with criminals and paupers and plague victims. Covered with lime. Buried without ceremony. No marker. No name. Nothing. The world moves on immediately. It doesn't pause for your death. Doesn't acknowledge it. The sun still rises. People still go about their business. The city continues exactly as it was. You left no mark. Made no difference. Just another drop of blood in an ocean of violence. Your victims' families never learn who killed their loved ones. They never get closure. Never get justice. You took that from them when you took their family members. And now you're gone, and they'll never know. That uncertainty will haunt them forever. Your old employers find a new assassin. Younger. Hungrier. More desperate. The cycle continues. Nothing changes. The demand for murder still exists. Someone will always fill the role. Someone will always be desperate enough, or angry enough, or broken enough to kill for money. Your family, if they're still alive. If they still exist somewhere. They don't know what happened to you. You disappeared 3 years ago. They probably think you're dead. Maybe they mourned you already. Maybe they've moved on. Maybe they're better off not knowing what you became. Your contribution to history is exactly 0. You're not in any books. No songs are written about you. No legends. No stories. You're not even a cautionary tale because no one knows enough about you to tell the story. You're just gone. Erased. As if you never existed. And maybe that's appropriate. Maybe that's justice. You took lives. You destroyed families. You caused suffering. And in the end, you got nothing for it. No glory. No reward. No legacy. Just pain and death and oblivion. So what have we learned? What does this dark journey through the reality of medieval assassination teach us? First and most important, assassins aren't cool. They're not badass lone wolves with a code of honor. They're not noble warriors fighting tyranny. They're not anything that Hollywood has sold us. They're desperate criminals. Traumatized and traumatizing. Living in constant fear. Dying young and badly. Remembered by no one. Mourned by no one. Leaving nothing behind but pain. The whole romanticized image is a lie. A fantasy. Reality is just blood and fear and psychological destruction and death. Second, violence isn't glamorous. Murder isn't entertainment. Killing another human being isn't a cool skill to have. It's trauma. For everyone involved. The killer. The killed. The families. The witnesses. Everyone touched by violence carries scars. Some visible, most not. We live in a culture, especially American culture, that romanticizes the lone wolf, the vigilante, the person who takes justice into their own hands, the cool assassin who operates outside the law. We make movies about these people. Video games, TV shows. We make them heroes. But real assassins aren't heroes. They're just murderers. And murder destroys everyone it touches. There's no honor in it. No glory. Just destruction. Third, cycles of violence are real. You became an assassin because of violence. Maybe revenge. Maybe desperation born from systemic violence. Maybe coercion through threat of violence. Violence created you. And then you perpetuated violence. Every kill created more victims, more grieving families, more people who might become violent themselves seeking revenge. The cycle continues, endlessly, unless someone breaks it. Medieval assassins died out eventually. The profession became untenable. Law enforcement improved. Society changed. But the archetype persists. Contract killers today. Hitmen. Same profession. Different era. Same desperate people. Same violent ends. Just with modern weapons. The fundamental truth hasn't changed. Murder for hire destroys everyone involved. No exceptions. So tonight, as you drift towards sleep, as your eyes get heavy and your breathing slows, let's talk about gratitude. You're lying in a bed, a real bed, with sheets and a pillow and maybe a blanket. You're warm. You're safe. You're not sleeping under a bridge or in an abandoned building or in a cell awaiting execution. You're not hunted. Not by authorities. Not by criminals. Not by ghosts of people you've killed. You can sleep without nightmares. Without faces staring at you. Without the constant fear that someone's about to kill you in your sleep. You have a future. Tomorrow exists for you. And the day after, you can make plans, can have dreams, can imagine growing old. Medieval assassins couldn't imagine next week. You can imagine decades. You don't have to kill anyone. Your survival doesn't depend on murdering other humans. You can earn money through normal means. Can feed yourself without blood on your hands. Can live without that psychological weight crushing you. Your body works. Mostly. Maybe you have aches and pains. Everyone does. But you're not broken. Not tortured. Not destroyed by violence. Your fingers work. Your shoulders work. You can breathe without pain. And you live in a time where murder is universally condemned. Where killing for money gets you life in prison. Not a paycheck. Where violence is prosecuted, not normalized. Where you have options other than crime when you're desperate. Medieval assassins had none of these things. They lived in constant terror, constant pain, constant moral anguish. They died young. They died badly. They died alone and unmourned. You're not them. You're safe. You're comfortable. You're free from that nightmare. So be grateful. The assassins are all gone now. Dead for centuries. They can't hurt anyone anymore. Can't hurt themselves anymore. They're at rest finally. After lives of violence and fear, they're at peace. And you can be at peace too. Let go of the images. Let go of the violence. Let the darkness fade. This is just a story. Just history. Just a reminder of how much better we have it now. Tomorrow you'll wake up to sunlight and coffee and ordinary life. Boring. Beautiful. Ordinary life where no one is trying to kill you and you're not trying to kill anyone. Where the biggest stress is traffic or work or bills. Normal problems. Human problems. Not survival problems. Tonight, just rest. Let your breathing slow. Let your muscles relax. Let sleep come naturally. No faces watching. No fear haunting. No blood on your hands. Just rest. Thank you for being here tonight. For listening to this dark journey through medieval history. For caring about people whose names were never recorded but whose suffering was real. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more boring history for sleep. More stories from the past told slowly and calmly. More truths behind the Hollywood lies. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. What time it is for you. Whether this helped you understand why assassins in games and movies are pure fantasy. Sweet dreams. Real dreams. Not nightmares. Not violence. Just peace. The medieval assassins are gone. They've been resting for hundreds of years. They can't hurt anyone anymore. They paid the price for their choices. They're done. And now you can rest too. Safe in the knowledge that you live in a better time. A safer time. A time where you don't have to become a monster to survive. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. Sleep peacefully. And remember, there's no honor among assassins. No glory in murder. No escape from that life except death. Be grateful you'll never know that life firsthand. Be grateful for boring, safe, ordinary existence. That's all we have tonight. That's where the story ends. With relief, with gratitude, with peace. Good night.